In this video, I'm going to show you how to play one of the mainline variations of the Caro-Kann. I played this game at the Marshall Chess Club in an over-the-board tournament with 25-minute time controls about a year ago. My opponent was rated approximately 1900, and she was a strong player. And at knight f6, this is the main line of the Caro-Kann. Also, black can play bishop f5. In this position, we would just play knight g3, and the game would go on from here. However, knight f6 is also the main line. And after it takes, usually we see the what's called the Tarka tower. So black takes with the e pawn, and then actually our strategy here is the castle queenside. But for this video, we're going to look at what happens when black takes with the g pawn. Now, a couple of main concepts I want you to take away from here, okay? Now, when you're playing the game of chess, you're on your own. You're not going to have your chess teacher, your chess coach by your side. You're not going to have a YouTube video by your side as you're playing the game, unless you're cheating, and you shouldn't cheat. So you have to trust yourself. So I can't tell you every move to play, but I'm just going to give you the concepts to play in certain positions, and you should use those concepts and apply them to your games. Now, conceptually, since black took with the g-pawn, we have an open g-file. So what does that tell us? Well, one, black should not castle kingside because the king would be unsafe. Black's going to castle queenside. Also, this open file is going to be used as an attack to attack our king. So what setup do we want to use when we have your opponent has an open g-file to your king? You want to have a fiend shuttle position. So first I play c3. Now I play c3 because I don't want black's bishop to pin my knight. So if I played knight f3 first, black gets to pin my knight. It's very annoying. So I played c3. And in the Caro-Kann, we actually want this pawn formation. This is also going to support b4. I'm going to launch my pawns at the king when she castles queenside, which I'll get to in a second. Okay, so I play a couple of just developing moves, and then I play g3. This is setting up a fiend shuttle position. Now, why do you play a fiend shuttle position when your opponent has an open g-file? Well, the g-pawn, you'll see, is the one that's pushed up furthest, and it has two supporters here. So these two supporters form like a piece of granite that the rook's going to bite on. So if the rook's attacking on the g-file, if that's the file that's open, it would make sense that we want to make the g-file the strongest file defensively in our position. Also, this bishop now, it's aimed at the king side. Since the king castled queenside, it's aimed at the king side. It's going to support an attack. Now, what black wants to do here is black wants to, in general, launch the h-pawn at our king, and I'll show you what to do in a second. Another main concept is the kings are on opposite sides of the board, so we've launched the pawns at each other. So I'm just combining basic concepts here to get a better position than my opponent. My opponent opened the g-file, so I fiend shuttle the position. They castled queenside. We have kings on opposite sides of the board, so I launched the pawns at her. These are all basic concepts. I just get my queen out of a pin here. Okay, black just goes to h4, h5 rather, and now I'm just, again, setting up an attack on black's king. Okay, black pushes forward here. I don't want to take and invite pieces into the game. That would be a mistake, so I just push forward. I send the knight over to d5, and now I just break open the black's king position. I'm not concerned about sacrificing pawns here. I actually want files to be open. So if I get rid of pawns, that means the files are more open. That means my rooks are stronger. So don't look at it as you're losing material. When you sacrifice a pawn, the pawns are attacking your opponent's king. You're actually opening up rooks to your opponent, so you're strengthening your rooks. Okay, so I sacrificed the pawn, but now I have open files to black's king here, and black is kind of in trouble at this point. Now, I played bishop h3, black blocked with the rook. I can take the rook now and cash in the exchange, but I don't have to take it right away. I just simply started getting my knight into the game. Now I took the bishop, and now I just entered the position. I'm taking pawns, attacking the rook here, and now black just tried to get my queen out of there, but I threw in a check, put my other rook on an open file here, and now black got out of the way because I was attacking the knight twice. But now I just played queen a6. Black cannot take due to the pin. And now I threw in this check, brought my rook here, and my opponent resigned because there's no way to stop the attack here. And there's no way to defend it. Black's pieces are out of position. This is pinned. black is completely lost here. So it's a very easy position to play, this Caro-Kann opening, if you know what you're doing here. And just a couple simple things. Another thing I should mention, which my opponent didn't do, and most players actually do, is they'll throw the H-pawn at you. Now, this is also very simple. Now, we normally would play H4 here, but in this position, we don't want to. That weakens, again, this weakens the G file. This G pawn wants to be really strong because this rook can potentially go over here and attack, right? Or this rook. But what we want to do is just use the knight as a blockader. Now, you might hear the knight in the rim is grim, but in this position, we don't necessarily want the knight to be the greatest piece of all time. We don't want this knight to be like Michael Jordan, in the middle of the board doing everything. It has a job to do. And this knight's job in this game is to just sit back, blockade the H-file so black cannot rip it open the H-file, which will lead to an attack on our king. This pawn is doing its job, protected by these two pawns, to stop an attack on the G-file, and this knight stops the H-file. Therefore, black cannot attack us, and we can attack black with our bishop, this bishop, our queen, our two rooks, and by the way, our pawns are coming up to soften up the king side. So we have more than enough pieces, offensive pieces, to checkmate black. This knight is just going to sit here and be a defender. That's its job. That's just one more key thing I wanted to mention in this opening. But there you have it. You have all the tools you need to be able to beat the Caro-Kann if your opponent takes with the G-pawn. Remember those concepts. And if you like these videos, I got more comments, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you next time. Go play some chess.